Well, good afternoon and good evening, everyone, and a very, very happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Very nice of you that you could join me. Wonderful, wonderful times all around. Do I need to switch this one? I think I do. Yeah, that's good. Let's just switch that one. Wonderful news, Christina. Unbelievable that the chemo is finally working. So congrats for that. I wish I had my applause board here. Where is it working? Yeah, exactly. Inhuman applause, even better. So wonderful, wonderful news. Super appreciative of that. I'm glad the doctors figured something out. That's very nice. So there we go. Yes, what a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving present that was. We celebrated that yesterday here, more or less, chilling out and doing nothing. And I was going to do a stream, but then it kind of got comfy on the couch and I didn't do it. So yeah, but today I'm back. Kept thinking it was Saturday today. And it's not, so it's Friday. That's very cool. So we can do some schnick-schnack and shenanigans with 3D. A couple of further interesting, exciting Thanksgiving news items. This wonderful card arrived from Mrs. Joe Shelley. That's very interesting, very lovely card. Thank you so much, sweetie. We really appreciated that. Arrived this morning, got it this morning. So it says good times, good food, and good company, and that's really what life is all about, isn't it? That's just wonderful. So thank you so much for sending that. I'll leave that here so that we can all admire it while I'm on the air. That's very nice. Oh, yeah, my mixer return keeps freezing. I hope your video stream is a little bit better here. Yeah, perfect. Yes, let's do that over the weekend, Christina. That's a nice idea. Let's do that. I'm going to work further on this little animation that I've made there. We need to assemble it so that we can have a look at it. I had it rendered, but I haven't had it assembled. I'm a tiny bit delayed because another nice little gadget arrived, which is this one, the GoPro Hero 8. As marked by the number 8 here, arrived today. GoPro UPS actually rang the doorbell and brought it to me, so that's very nice. Julie and I just did a test on it. I'm excited about it because it has this hyper smooth feature, so you do this with the camera, but the picture is absolutely rock solid still. It's very interesting. Hopefully it comes in handy for forthcoming interviews. So there we go. That is that. And now let's have a look at my desktop. Let me know if the audio is okay today, that there's no echo and whatnot. And I suppose, first of all, let's go and put my little pointer focus on. There we go. And then we'll go and assemble that image sequence. I think I'm going to go and copy that over here to this computer. It wasn't rendered on this computer. Little bit of interesting information there. It was rendered on one of my nodes, which should come up here. I think it's on. Is it on? It is on. There we go. Good stuff. And that's the node into which I recently installed a second GPU. It's one that used to come with one Quadro K4000 GPU. And I have added a second K4000 GPU. And for some bizarre reason, when I rendered the previous animation, the one that we saw in the beginning, when I render that, there we go, that's the one, isn't it? Perfect. Animation, put that here. When I render that with two GPUs, it crashes. Render it with one GPU and the CPU, everything's fine. Render it with two GPUs, animation crashes. So I thought, maybe there's something that Blender doesn't handle very well, because it doesn't matter which GPU I use, they both work equally well. They just produce that issue there. So I rendered this animation with the same node with two cards, and everything is hunky-dory. So it looks like the difference was the size of the items in the animation. So I think what may happen there is that when the RAM needed to fit the scene into the GPU RAM, if that's exceeded, then Blender has a really funky way of allocating regular regular computer RAM to that, to expand the GPU RAM. And it does that really well. So it looks like it's not letting you run out of memory that easily, which is a great feature. But I think there may be an issue when it does this with two GPUs, that either the same RAM is allocated or something is allocated wrongly, some kind of memory leak, and it runs out of memory after the third frame. So that's the issue that happens there. First frame's fine, second frame takes a bit longer, third frame it runs out of oomph. But it didn't do that on this animation, which fits into the RAM. So that's the background there. Just while I'm preparing this. Ooh, it already wants to render it all out. I just want to have a look at it. That looks like it's all the frames. I think I'm going to put just a little bit of a color correction on this. Just make that a little bit harder while I'm here. Just a bit of brightness and contrast. See what auto does. Auto sometimes goes a little bit over the top. It just does that, doesn't it? So yeah, maybe just a hint of that. There. I did not, Captain. I did not do that. No, because basically because I thought everything was working fine with one GPU, so I didn't see the need to do that with the second GPU. How would you suggest I do that? Do you know, I just realized, have I not, maybe I've actually done this. Cracked landscape. Oh, that's on a different computer altogether. I wonder if I've actually rendered this and completely forgot about it. Animatics. There we go, cracked landscape. I've actually done it. We don't need to do it again. Duh. Duh. It's just how my brain works. Here it is. Fantastic. Oh, it's all done and dusted. I know where it is. I just don't see the need to do it because it was working with one GPU. So I don't know why I would need to change that for two GPUs. And case in point, this animation rendered fine. But I'll have a look at it in a moment. That's actually a great idea. Let's do that. See what we can do there. This is the animation that we built last time. 60 frames a second. Boom, there's the logo. I think the only two things I'd like to change, because this is kind of a quickie, I like most of it. I like how this thing works. The material doesn't look good when we're that far away. I don't like the kind of, that pattern that we see here. Not sure what that's all about. It could be subdivision surface modifier, could be the material itself. And the landscape itself is a little boring, so I'd like to use a particle emitter to just dot some random rocks, mainly over the crater. We can't place them everywhere, but mainly over here. I like to have some pieces sticking out. It doesn't have to be something dramatically good, but just something, that makes it a little bit more interesting. I think I can leave that out in the background because we only see that that quickly, that briefly. We'll see how we go. I'll put some bits and bobs in there. Subtlety didn't work. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Christina. We'll see if we can fix that. The material itself is actually is all right. Yeah, I can just see edges there. Let's see what we can do about that. Even if I have to crank it up quite high, it'll only be in the final render. So that should be cool if we know what that problem is. I wonder if it is the material or I think it's the geometry actually, Brian. Unless it is a modifier that the material itself added there, that's possible. Lots of things to check out. Let's go through those render settings there briefly. Let me go and connect to my remote node, and then we'll just have a quick look at that. This one here, it was. I don't think I activated that, Christina. No, I didn't do that because I didn't use the adaptive subdivision after all. I didn't do that. But that is something I could try. I completely forgot about it, to be honest. So there we go. NVIDIA control panel, here it is. This is not my streaming computer. This is one of my render nodes now. I should really put a different background picture on there so that we can distinguish them. I get confused frequently, so there we go. NVIDIA control panel takes a little bit of time to load, I've noticed. If it loads at all. I know the GeForce Experience loads because that's the one that installs me some drivers here. But the control panel, come on. You can do it. Control panel. Doesn't even want to come up. It's shy. Say hello to the audience. Come on, control panel. No, it's shy. It doesn't want to do it. Maybe it doesn't do it via remote. Maybe it needs to be. I mean, I'm sure it did that because I installed the driver remotely. It shouldn't really that big an issue. Doesn't want to come up. Oh, there we go. It just took a bit of time. There we go. Let me know what I should be doing here. I suppose it's program settings, right? I would imagine. And I'll go over to Blender. If that is the Blender version, that it is the Blender version. See if there is anything that, let me know what you think I should be changing. Everything's using the default global settings. I've never adjusted anything about this here. Let me just go grab my coffee. I'll be back in 2 seconds. All right, I'm back with coffee. Maximum performance. Let me see if I can find that. Which section would that be in, Capum? CUDA GPU, global settings, all. Enable overlay, exported pixel, low latency mode. The only thing I have changed, and that wasn't in here actually, that was the thing, Christina, you brought this up as well. I read the same article and it had something to do with some kind of timeout parameter. That happened to me as soon as I installed Blender 2.81 on this machine with the K4000 cards. That is exactly where I had timeout issues, and I extended that value, and that seemed to have done the trick. TDR, that was it. Exactly, that was it. Oh, this one here, maybe. Manage GPU utilization. Is that it? Manage CUDA settings for specific program and manage 3D settings. Power management. Ah. I have never seen this whole panel here. Give me a hint where I might find that. System topology? No, probably not. Setup mosaic, that's probably not it either. Video, imaging settings, multiple display, size, position, setup, audio, HDCP status, rotate display, adjust desktop color settings, resolution, physics, manage 3D settings. Let's try that for Blender. Oh, do you know, whatever they were suggesting in the article seemed to work quite fine. I think my value wasn't actually set at all. There was nothing in the registry. So whatever the article, it was 50 maybe? So I don't quite remember, to be honest. The app list, okay, I'm here, sir. And then I'm selecting Blender, I would imagine. And there should be power management. Okay, let me have a look. Loading is power management. NVIDIA driver controlled. Aha! Reduce CPU usage by saving compiled shaders to disk cache. Is that it? Power management? Power management mode, optimal, adaptive, prefer maximum performance. Let's do that. In Blender. Haha! Thank you so much. How exciting. What have we got here? Shader, cache, stereo display mode. Stereo swap eyes. Excellent. Texture filtering. Negative LOD bias. Texture filter, triple buffering. Vertical sync. Big difference. Oh, okay, thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much. I never heard of that. I've never played with this panel because up until now it actually has worked. So, why don't we try it out right away? Let me go close. Whoops. Oh no, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Oh, there we go. We're back. It's the same hotkey. So if I move too far into the corner, then this little peeling thing opens up, and that's actually the no machine settings. Would you like to save? Changes apply? Yeah, of course. Apply. Yeah, awesome. Let's go apply everything. Good point. Apply. And let me just go and load that animation that was troublesome, and we'll just kick it off a few frames and we'll see what happens. It'll be just interesting to see if we could just use JPlays. It'll just be interesting to see what happens with 2 GPUs. Let's just start at 301. Where are we right now? 196. Let's start at 201, and we'll try to render until 210. It can happen in the background. We can do other things while this thing is doing it, and by the time we get back, we'll see what happens. We'll go put that in a new folder. Render test. Well, let's call it something else. Let's call it. Can we not rename that? Oh, come on. We can. There we go. Let's call it performance test. How's that? All right. I had no idea. So I'll just call them test. And 10 frames should be enough. We can do it in that resolution, and let's just see if both are, yeah, both are ticked. So 2K4000s and my CPU. It doesn't matter if we untick this or not. I mean, it speeds up performance dramatically, but the error also manifests with 2 GPUs and no CPU. It just takes much longer. So it's not a graphics card error either, because no matter if I select this one or that one, the error is still there. So I'm going to go select these two, and let's just go and let this render as PNG in here. Perfect. And let's do this thing. See if he kicks it off, and then we'll go back to our other computer, and then we'll see how we can fix the landscape thing. This gives us a brief look at what this watch my computer render channel might look like. It might look like that for a very long time. If you would, Captain, that would be very nice. Yes, that'd be really helpful. I think that is one thing, I got to say this, especially for Thanksgiving, that is something I really appreciate about our community, how we all just chip in and say, hey, let's share the knowledge. This is wonderful. I really like how we've got that down to a T. I like that. There we go. So that's him rendering one frame after another. And in about 15 to 20 minutes, we should have our answer. If he's still rendering, everything is fine. If he isn't, then the performance settings haven't done the trick. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Well, let's go get out of here. Exit the player and have a look at another Blender instance somewhere else. There we go. Yeah, post it in the Discord and post it also here in the chat, Captain. Then we have a record of that at this point for the benefit of the other viewers. I believe cracked 5 is where we left off. There we go. So the, whoops. Dude. So the issues with the landscape we can already see here. And both landscapes have that. So both the background and the foreground landscape. Take a look at the sub-D. So viewport has 1, render had 2, but it looks like I can see the same thing. So it would be interesting to see if the same happens if I switch it to the experimental settings, or if this is something we should solve with a material, with a different material. What do you think? It's kind of a tricky one. Thank you. Very nice, Captain. Very nice. Thank you. I can just go and increase the viewport sub-diff, see if that makes any difference, just for our benefit here. Takes a while. From 1 to 2 didn't make any difference visually. I'll go to 3. Yeah, let's crank it up. Might take a while. Still working on it. How was your Thanksgiving? Anyone living in the US who has been celebrating Thanksgiving, how was it for you? Did you have turkey? Are you off over these Thanksgiving days until the weekend? Tell me all about it. Okay, I've cranked up. The viewport is now 3, but I can't see a visual difference here. I can probably, oh, he's still thinking about it. Let me go to Eevee and just have a look at this rendered. Maybe we'll see something. No, it's still the same mess. It's still the same mess. So it looks like it wasn't. I did not use adaptive, Christina. We can do that. I can try adaptive. Let me go back to cycles. I just cranked up viewport to level 3, and compared to level 1 and 2, it didn't make a difference. And now it hangs because I'm still in the rendered viewport. And there we go, perfect. So landscape. Oh yes, experimental. And oh, we had this last time, didn't we? We had this last time that I'd have to remove this and then put another one on, the material disappear, and it took 10 minutes and it was a boring affair. I wonder if I should just, not do it, and we'll solve it in a different way, because I don't think it's going to solve the problem. If level 3 subdivision in the viewport is the same as level 1 visually, then that's not gonna solve the problem. Let's see if we can use a different material. I think if we zoom in closer here, yeah, Christina offered very kindly that we have a look together in kind of an open source sand texture rather than something that comes from Extreme PBR. And the benefit of that would be that I can give this whole thing that we've built so far away, because then I would own everything for it. So yeah, that would be really nice if we can get that going. And then I can make it available to my Patreon supporters. So there we go. That'd be nice. So for now, I'll go untick the displacement thing. I'll go and, you don't think it's the material? I'll just try another one just out of curiosity. Maybe this one here. Or maybe that's the one that we have. Red dirt mud, that's the one we have, isn't it? Or maybe this one here. Red mud stones. Let's try that. Or let's try one of the Blender internal ones. It looks like it's a scaling problem. Yeah, because I can see the same artifacts with a different material here. Yeah, it is. I think we did that last time. Just to be sure, I'll just do it again. I think it's smooth. All of it is smooth. Let's see if we can do something with the scaling, something that looks a little bit less horrible, perhaps. Yeah. What shall I do? Shall I scale it larger? Larger is probably the way to go, isn't it? So larger means I need to make the number smaller, of course, like this, 0.1. And I have to get out of edit mode to actually see the difference here. Oh no, that made it worse. Look at that. I see. I don't see. I'm tapping in the dark. Okay, let's try and make it 10. Was the landscape generated with UVs? That is a really good question, Christina. I don't know if Ant Landscape gives us UVs or not. That's a very good question. Shall we try it out? Let me go, since we haven't really done anything, let me go and not save that. I'm going to go have a new thing. Let's go add a landscape, just like that. And let's just see if it comes with UVs. Does it come with UVs? Does it buffalo? I don't think it does. Maybe that is the solution to the puzzle. That could well be just as simple as unwrap and giving it some UVs. That's a very good point. Shows how little I actually know about 3D. Perhaps that is the entire problem. Let's go back to our scene, not save that. With our landscape selected here. I'm not an expert. Does that look right to you? There's got to be better options than this. Maybe one of these will work better. No, actually. Maybe it's because that's terrible. Smart UV project, let's try that. Yeah. Could do project from view, just project it straight from the top. I could try that. For the top, yeah, exactly, like that, and then just do that from the view, right? Like this. It's kind of better, isn't it? And then we can just go scale this up, I guess, to about here, maybe. Is there a way to center it? Kind of scale it up completely. I'm sure there is. I'm not really. I know very little about UVs. Pack Island, that's the one, exactly. That's exactly it. Pack Islands, that was it. Very good. Well, that looks much more like a landscape, and now we can probably tweak with the scale there a little bit, because now I can see that the stones and all that looks a little bit too big. That's much, much better. My goodness, the simple things. And yeah, it looks a little bit messy when we're flying through this, but it certainly looks better than before. And especially if I make the scale a little bit smaller, I think then we're gonna go. We're certainly getting somewhere. My goodness, thank you so much. We found it. Do you know this is my original choice, isn't it? Red dirt mutt. Yeah, that's it. Red dirt mutt. I forgot now. Does the number need to be bigger for the thing to be smaller? I'll just try it out. What happens with 10? No. The number needs to be smaller for the thing to get bigger. Like magic. Absolutely magical. Whoa. She is, isn't she? My goodness. Oh. Now, kids, remember, put UVs on your generated objects and don't just slap a material on it. It's just going to make you unhappy. Oh, that is so cool. Christina, I was going to say you're the man. It doesn't really make sense, but you're the woman, certainly. Let's do the same on the back here, the background landscape. Maybe I'll go and change the scale before we do anything else. So that was 0.1. Oh, can I? Let me just go back to the UV editing here before, before I forget how to do anything. Can I just go project from view right now, or do I have to go unwrap first? I'm not entirely sure. Do I have to do this first and then project from view? Maybe I'll just try it out. Project from view, see what happens. Oh yeah, it did work. Okay, good stuff. You can just, okay, thanks, Christina. And now, well, select and pack islands. Boom. Ay, caramba. Very cool. Right, so I suppose (0.1) worked for me in the front, but it didn't work in the back. I'll just try and do this the exact same way as before, because I don't quite remember what I put here. I put 0.1. How come it works in there? Because the scale of the thing is different, isn't it? Did I apply the scale there? Do I remember that even? I must have done. Yeah, I must have done. Go to the pivot point and set the second cursor. There's two expressions I don't understand in that sentence. It's pivot point and 2D cursor, I'm afraid. That's not going to get me much like anywhere, is it? Pivot point could be this, could be, and set the 2D cursor. That it could be that means UV edit again, sure. UV, there we go. This is kind of a scary view. I know that it exists, but that's all I know. Top bar, yeah, got you. In the left window here. Icons in the middle. These ones here. The left one is a pivot. This one here. That's vertex select. I'm sure you mean something else. The left one is the pivot. I don't know. In the left window, okay. This is the pivot. Could that be it? Hover and you shall find out. That's just box select, I guess. Middle icon group. I see so many icons. I don't really know which one the middle is. Could be this. This could be it. Pivot. There we go. Okay. Gotcha. That's a pivot. Found the pivot. What do I do with that again? Median point. 2D cursor. Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Perfect. This is like trying to teach a Chinese guy how to speak Japanese. I should just give you remote control over this computer. That would be much easier. While speaking Italian, that's right. Now select everything, gotcha. Now type S5, gotcha. All right. And hit enter. Shall we see what that looks like? Don't pack. Let me just see what it looks like. Very good. It looks almost exactly like the material we have in the foreground. That is very cool. How did you know that these cryptic button combinations would lead us to success without seeing anything other than what we're seeing, Christina? That is very impressive, I must say. That is very impressive. Christina is magic. She is Blender. That is very cool. I'm going to go and put the time mapping back to 100 here, because then my cursor. That's nice. I like that. Now we don't have these issues here. That's very nice. My God, thank you so much, Christina. I'm going to go save this file right away as cracked 6. And it was just a guess. I gathered that, but sometimes this is fascinating about creative people. You looked at it, at what we had before, and that was your guess. So that's interesting. Look, I would have tried to use the UV editor scale in here. I just wonder what that is now set to. That is still the same, because that's just the UV scale from the PBR magic thing, whereas you've changed the actual size of how the UV projection on the actual object has been mapped, correct? In my limited capacity of understanding how UVs work, that is what you did, right? It's something I think Steve suggested, that try a 6. We can try. I think I'm happy with it. I'm happy not to mess with it. I mean, it looks almost identical to what we have in the foreground. For what we have, I think I'm just going to leave it, Christina. I think I'm going to leave it. Yeah, this is the foreground and this is the background. I think we're pretty much there. Steve was suggesting that with the cinema animation, about getting materials that are imported from DAZ Studio, right? That was kind of clever. Let's try and see. Oh, I might take a look at that. Thank you so much, Christina. Very good. Yeah, UVs. I mean, I do understand them, of course, but how to unwrap an object all way over my head. It's all just so fiddly that I'm thinking, yeah, that's just, I've never really done that. If it works with a one-click solution, I'm your man. But if it isn't, then I just don't know what to do. So let's try and put some debris in here. So my idea was to go, you know, and there's quite a few videos there. It's a growing collection of really cool tutorials that Christina has there. Very nice. So I'm going to go and put some debris in here to make the whole landscape look a little bit more interesting. And when I had this idea, I was trying I was trying to figure out, do I have something like just a few basic rocks? How do I get a few rocks in there? I'm going to go replicate them all over the place. Let me just switch the material off so that we can see the geometry a little bit better. And rather than put them everywhere, I think I'm going to use kind of a density map on the particle system, so that they're just more where I want them and less where I don't necessarily want them. And I'll do that only on our foreground landscape on this object here. We may put them on the background, I don't know yet. But when I was looking into this, I was thinking, well, how am I going to do this? I can either try and get away with primitives that I model. So just have something like a sphere and then just chop bits off and squish them so that they're kind of flat stones. Then I was thinking maybe somebody's already built some stones or some debris that I can import that is free to use. I could have a look through my DAS library. That I'm sure there's some debris in there. Or I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there's something like a rock generator in Blender available? And I did some research, and it looks like there once was a rock generator, which even made it into the testing repository in Blender 2.8's beta version, but it was later removed, so I guess it wasn't working properly. So but yes, exactly. I might just go start from a cube. I just wanted to show you this. In my research there yesterday, I found so many dislocated bits and bobs that I brought them all together into a GitHub repository where I've just assembled all these outdated bits of code for a rock generator dating back to 2011 by Paul Marshall. So I've added that on GitHub. It's not quite ready yet, but there's add mesh rocks. That's the thing. So right. That's probably why it was. So it looks like they're still working on it, but there is no central repository for that. So I've made one. So I'll release that at one point when I think I have at least the description ready as to how this came to be. So I have installed it here, and we can try it out. See if it gets us somewhere. I find, for my liking, they're a little bit too high resolution, these little bits and bobs. I'll show you how they work, at least. I'll just save this, go and make a new thing here. It's another add-on. I think it's already enabled. There it is, rock generator. And it makes a rock. And it's kind of cool because if you delete that, you can go and make another rock that looks different. And of course, you can make more than one rock at the same time, and you have lots of starting parameters for rocks. So we could make maybe 4 rocks. They're all in the same place, so we're gonna have to go take them out. There's all kinds of parameters that you can set, like deformation and all that. I'm just not sure if they're working correctly in Blender 2.8 just yet. They may. All the documentation is outdated, and I don't think the developer maintains this thing anymore. Yeah, looks like I've done something that that's brought Blender to a standstill. So no wonder it wasn't included in the final release. So no matter how much I've fiddled with this, yeah, we can probably just end it. Yes, thanks, Windows. Very, very nice of you. We can probably just use one, but the resolution is so high res, like I thought that's a little bit overkill. So maybe I'm just gonna go and have a go at modeling my own cube. I mean, I know not a lot about modeling, but you know, maybe I can just make a rock. What do you suggest? We start with a kind of a sphere, perhaps icosphere, chop bits off, and make them flat or whatnot. What do you think? Perhaps even that is just too high res. I'm looking at something much more low poly than that. Maybe that's cool. Maybe that's nice. And then I'm just thinking of just deforming that. Kind of randomly. Try cube. Randomized vertices. I didn't even know that existed, Christina. I'll make a few. It's almost like a rock. You know, that's what they look like, don't they? Yeah, low poly. I mean, I'll make like 10,000 of them, or 2,000 of them. I don't want the geometry to be too much there, but I do agree it doesn't look great. I'll leave it here and I'll just call it rock 1. And I'll try your cube idea next. Let's do a cube. And then you say subdivide. I'll do that all in edit mode, right? Is that correct? Subdivide, don't know the shortcut for that, so I'll have to look. Subdivide, there we go. Did you say subdivide again? Make it a bit flat. And now you're saying randomize the vertices. Now that is something I also don't really know that it exists. It does sound exciting though. Maybe I'll look for it. Randomize. Oh, that's exciting. It does random stuff. Randomize. All right. See how much I can randomize it. I wonder how it works if I had started with the like a sphere there. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, nice. Certainly random. Let me do the same thing with the sphere, just out of curiosity. Oh yeah, we're going to go shade this smooth as well. Let's try with our icosphere again. That's nice. That's like a nice little simple rock script, I guess. Hey, good enough for me. I'm one of those guys who's happy when things are fast rather than, you know, slow. Oops, that's certainly not what I meant. I'm just going to go put all these in the kind of around the center, and then I'll join them up as an object. These guys need to just be slightly further over here. I don't want them to be too far sunk into the ground, all of them. And then I guess I'll put the pivot point of them kind of squarely in the center. Shall we have one more? Maybe 3 will be fine. 3 will be fine. Maybe join them all, Control J, and then I'll go and put the origin point where the 3D cursor is, which I also don't know what that shortcut is. So origin, set origin to 3D cursor. Perfect. And the implication there is that the replicator or the particle system is going to look at the origin point in regards to, you know, where they're going to, where that thing's going to, where they're going to come out of the ground from. I suppose also what I could have done, and again, this is just my lack of knowledge again, I think I should UV map them then, I guess, right? Is that what we should be doing? UV map these puppies? Just call these guys rocks. Oh, so they're already UV mapped, it looks like. Rod, how you doing? Happy Thanksgiving to you, Rod. It looks like they're already UV mapped. Cool. Can I leave these overlapping? I mean, they're just rocks, and if we give this a kind of a rocky type texture, that doesn't really matter in this case, right? Because there are 3 different objects. That's this one, that's that one, and that's that one. Are those the same? Oh yeah, they're sharing the exact same UVs. It doesn't really matter, right? In our case. Hello, Joe. Thank you so much for your wonderful card. I've shown this earlier. Let's see if this works. I have shown it earlier. It is on my desk. Thank you so much for your wonderful card. I really appreciate that. It shall be on my desk all week. And, you know, I just wanted to say thanks for that. Very nice of you. Very nice of you to send me your card. Very nice. The Shelleys. Right. Oh, I didn't know that. So since 2.8, they're generated with objects. That's cool. But I can just leave them as they are, right? I guess I'm just going to leave them as they are. And I will save this as a blend file. I'm going to call this one rocks. And then I can go append this or just grab it from my real file there, which is cracked 6. Rod and Joe, you have you have missed that the wonderful Miss Christina McKay has shown me how to UV map the whole landscape and add the material on there properly. What we had before, if we wanted to have a quick look at that, was this. So this is what we built last time. And while it looks okay, the texture on it or something with the subdivision didn't look good enough, like all these little kind of, you know, rhombus shaped things. That didn't look nice. Turns out we didn't UV unwrap the landscape, hence the material didn't look great here and on the background. So Christina was kind enough to show me how that works. That's very nice. So we've already got a big step further. Then also Captain Slaymore showed me something about the NVIDIA control panel settings. That was nice. Perhaps while we're taking a little intermission-y break here, let's go and see what my render node is doing. See if it's still rendering. That is very cool. See if it's developed that fault again or not. Let's see. Oh my God. Do you see what I'm seeing? Do you see what I'm seeing? Captain, this is dynamite stuff. So the dynamite implication here is that this is my render node. This is not my computer, it's my render node, one of my render nodes from over there. The thing is, it's still rendering, and it's now on the 7th frame in the animation with rendering with the CPU and 2 GPUs. And oh my God, you've solved the problem. Blender doesn't have a problem. There's a freaking tick box in the NVIDIA control panel. That is seriously cool. Oh man, I'm getting excited when stuff like that just sorts it out. That is unbelievable. Woohoo! It is still rendering. That is so cool. Indeed, it's that extra GPU. That's what I bought it for. And it's crazy enough, I did a test in with DAZ Studio, and DAZ Studio seemed to be okay with the previous settings. But now that I know where they are, I will certainly make a little note on my website there and try and do the same thing for DAZ Studio. So what used to happen is the first frame with 2 GPUs and the CPU would render fine. Second frame would take a lot longer for whatever reason, and the third frame would start rendering, and then about halfway through it would throw up like an error message that said, hey, CUDA whatever has run out of memory in line whatnot and can't render anymore. And thanks to your fight, it works fine. Yes, but Christina, the peak is at that because that's the max of the graphics card. The graphics card only has 3 gigs of RAM, either one of them, and it did that before. And it's the scene itself is actually bigger. So Blender does this magic thing in which it puts everything into GPU RAM that's possible, but if the scene is bigger, it also offloads something into regular computer RAM. I don't know how this magic works, but they made it possible so that larger scenes are possible to be rendered on graphics cards with lower memory limits. So now you can see how it's kind of filling it up as it loads the scene. And we can see this live, 8th frame. That is amazing stuff. It is all magic, Rod. It is all magic, and it's beyond my understanding. Look at that. No, why? This is amazing. So it did 7 frames, and now it's come up with the error. I wonder if it's because we're watching it and because it now has to render us looking at it in addition to whatever fits in RAM. So this is kind of nice. This is exactly that issue that I used to get after 2 frames in the 3rd frame. This is why we all together, Christina, this is why we make such a perfect team. We all know little bits and put them all together into the hive mind, and it's all exciting. There we go. But hey, it's now happening on frame 8 rather than on frame 3, so there is some improvement there. And I wonder if it is actually while I'm looking at it. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Because just out of curiosity, if I now go start at frame 208, that is always the 208. I said 208. I meant rather, and let's render it until frame 250. We can actually, since it's only a test render, let's start again at frame 201. Just for the sake of it. Let's go render animation again, and then quickly get out of here and let him render. I see, out of memory now that I'm looking at it. I wonder if that has something to do with it. The thing is, because, observe please. Now, so let me just do this again. Render animation literally happens right there. But in my previous tests, observe please, I'll switch either of the GPUs off, either one of them, doesn't matter which one, and I try and render the animation. Now it'll work. It's crazy. No, it doesn't work. Maybe I need to restart Blender for that. Maybe it's grumpy with me now. That could be. Maybe it's grumpy with me now. Yeah, you render it with 1 GPU and everything works hunky-dory. The second you add the second GPU, it runs out of memory at one point. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter which GPU it is. Yeah, not to watch. How do you kick it off though? I need to have a timer. Also works, that's another item in the puzzle. It also happens, this out of memory error, when I render from the command line. Even if I don't even load the GPU at all, if I just do this from the command line, same thing happens. Ah, but Captain Slaymore, that's not how it works. If you have two GPUs, they don't add RAM. So if you have, like in my case, I have two 3 GB GPUs, that doesn't mean I have 6 GB of RAM. That just means I have, each card needs to get the 3 GB into its own RAM and do their thing. So they don't add up. It doesn't work like regular computer RAM, sadly. But hey, it was an interesting experiment. So I think, Christina, we need to file that bug report there after all. Did I restart Blender? I can't remember. Did I restart it? I probably didn't. Let me go save this and let me restart this and not look at it for a while. We'll quickly kick it off and then quickly close it down. Except for speed. So two GPUs, they just render in parallel, so it just renders faster. That's the only advantage you get. So yeah, if you have, that's what people think about the, am I going to buy the TI version versus the non-TI version? And if you mix a TI card with a non-TI card, the dual or multiple GPUs together, they always default to the lowest available memory, and that's what all the cards get, from what I remember. Breaking Blender, that's a good idea. Breaking Blender. So both cards active to, thank you, Joe. I like that you like it. And we go quickly render the animation. And before anything can happen here, let's go and leave this thing. Exit player. We'll come back to this later. Poor Rod, what are you going to do without your coffee cup? Do you know, I've seen these things at Starbucks now. It's a ceramic coffee cup. It looks like a ceramic coffee cup. And it somehow connects to your mobile phone and it keeps your coffee warm via USB. That's just $100 for a coffee cup. That's just crazy stuff. Also, why is the quality so very, very bad on Mixer right now? I see like only 2/3 of the picture at the top. What's going down there? Not happy about this. I've seen this before. And that's just, that's sad when that happens. I thought my encoder settings are correct. Just checking if this looks the same bad way on YouTube. Like half of it not there. That's bad. Fog, yeah, that's what it is. Come on, YouTube, give it to me. What does YouTube look like? I like that I'm the owner of this stream and YouTube shows me adverts before I get to look at my off-air stream. Is that weird? It is, isn't it? Yeah, YouTube looks just as bad. I'm not really blue. I'm actually skin colored. Oh well. What a shame. Beautiful mess. Sad. Sad, that's what it is. Usually if we ignore it, it comes better. And Twitch does it, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it goes to one source and then it just goes and does this thing. Let me just go quickly switch to my camera here to reset all the packages. Maybe that makes a difference. Come on. Any better? Any better? I don't like it when technology freaks out like that. It's getting a bit better. No, it's not actually. It looks still as bad as that. What a shame. I can quickly stop the stream and then start it again. Shall I do that? Maybe that brings it back. I have good bandwidth and everything here. And high, what's it called here? High So OBS does not tell me anything bad. Yeah, okay, cool. I'll do that. I'll do that. Let me just go quickly switch this thing off and I'll be back in just a moment.